Yeah, I've watched the trailer a few days ago and a couple times already, and it appeared to be more or less what we were expecting it to be. That will tell a story about the end of the Second Age. We've seen, even with the pictures that they put out on Instagram, that our Pharazôn, the last king of Numenor, will be a part of it, will be probably a major part of it. And so we kind of know that, or at least we believe that the the Amazon series, the Rings of Power, will tell a story, will follow the story of the fall of Numenor, of Akalabath. And I imagine a lot of people are doing trailers breakdowns and things like that. But I decided to do something a little bit different. Probably someone also doing that, like a recap of what the Second Age bring to the table, how Sauron is connected to Numenor, so we might see a version of Sauron, a more cunning, less epic version of Sauron, and we might see a lot of political intrigue probably between our Pharazôn and the other um, higher ups in Numenor. The last moments of the Second Age are very important, and their actions and everything that happens, the plot lines are very important for what will become the Third Age, and what will become, as it was called, the Age of Man. And I I'm hopeful. I hope that it will be very good. It looks well made, at least cinematography, lighting looks quite good. CGI, not gonna touch that at the moment, but the major and the most important point to discuss is the plot lines and is the story. So, how the story of the Rings of Power will probably describe the last moments of the Second Age, and with that, a Calabath. So if you have read the Silmarillion and know about a Calabath, which is the downfall of Numenor, which is more or less like a Ragnarok for Middle Earth, which it is more or less what Tolkien wanted to create when he wrote the Lord of the Rings, the Silmarillion, and all that, which was an English epic, just like the Nordic epics. So he also wanted to create um, the beginnings, the endings, the major events, and Akalabath is one of those events, which is the downfall of Numenor. And you know that Sauron is a big influence on that. You know that our Pharazôn is a big influence on that, and we might see um, some of the Valar coming into play. We might see some of Middle Earth. We might see quite a lot of Numenor. During the trailer, we probably saw the capital of Numenor. We probably saw parts of Middle Earth, I believe. That especially the mountain hills and the big expanding landscapes were probably in Middle Earth rather than Numenor. But I don't know. We'll have to see. Um, the thing is, I decided to do more or less a breakdown of the major events of the Second Age for you that haven't read the Silmarillion, or is not aware of what happened before the Lord of the Rings, before the Hobbit, before even the Third Age, to be what to expect from the Amazon series, The Rings of Power. One of the major events of the Second Age is the creation of the Rings of Power, which is the main plot of the TV show. And another major event is when Sauron forges the One Ring, which is the Master Ring, to control all other rings. And that, in turn, started to create conflict between himself and the Elves, whom forged the other Rings of Power for him. And a war between Elves and Sauron began. At that time, Taorminia's Tyr, which is the current king of Numenor, sends forces from Numenor to Middle-earth, to the continent, to fight Sauron and to help the Elves. And with that, also Numenor starts their own movement, their own colonization, more or less, of Middle-earth. When the Numenorian gets into Middle-earth, probably that starts their relationship with Sauron and Sauron's influence into some of the Numenorian. The Numenorian, except a few, known as the Faithful, didn't like the idea of the Valar banning mortals from the Undying Lands. So that's another point of conflict that I believe that they will deal with in the TV show, but we're not sure. We have to see. But is this constant conflict between the Numenorian part of the Numenorian and the Valar, which are the more or less the gods or angels of Arda. After a while, Ar-Pharazôn becomes king, and he builds a massive armada to invade Middle-earth and try to pacify Middle-earth, try to control Sauron's forces, but at the same time try to control Middle-earth for themselves. And it's that moment when Sauron, seeing the major forces of the Numenorian and also seeing an opportunity, surrenders and is taken back to Numenor. Back at Numenor, in possession of the One Ring already, Sauron starts corrupting the mind of the king, the mind of some of the counselors of the king, and becomes himself Ar-Pharazôn's personal counselor. And we saw that if you watch the movies, if you read The Lord of the Rings, happening more or less the same way with Grima Wormtongue and Theoden of Rohan. Those corruption from let's say the evil, but like this kind of corrupted counselor that comes and invade and poisons the mind of especially kings, powerful kings. Inside the minds and inside the halls of the kings of Numenor, Sauron begins to trick the man into believing that they would be able to become immortal, and with that probably be accepted into the Undying Lands of Valinor if they started venerating and offering sacrifices for Morgoth. They build a temple, they build temples, they sacrifice humans, they sacrifice a lot of things, and they sacrificed and burned the white tree Nimroth, which was given by the Valar as a token of friendship between the Valar and man. And this tree, this white tree Nimroth, comes from a seedling of Telperion, which is one of the two trees of light in that is more detailed, that's more explained in the first age of Middle-earth, of the world. Before it's burned, before it's sacrificed for Morgoth, Isildur managed to take a fruit and saves it and brings it to Middle-earth to maintain the lineage of the White Tree. This fruit will eventually become the White Tree that we see in Minas Tirith, and also from the same seedling be the tree that Aragorn, Elessar, will plant during his kingdom. Now, with this belief that they could be immortal and could be accepted into Valinor, Ar-Pharazôn builds another armada and marches to Valinor, less as an act of friendship and more as a conquest. So they want to conquer, they want to attack, they want to take over Valinor and the Undying Lands. Before they arrive, they manage to arrive at the shores of Valinor, and Manwë, one of the High Valors, calls to Eru Ilúvatar, which is the god, the creator of Arda, and asks him to intervene. And what he does, he creates a massive wave that kills everyone in Numenor, destroys Ar-Pharazôn's armada, and breaks the word. So before that, the word Arda was plain. So it was a plain that where you could physically move from the continent and Numenor to Valinor, the Undying Lands, the lands of the Valar. After that, after the fall of Numenor, the world became round, and the continent of Middle-earth and the island of Numenor, which is now under the sea, together with the coast of Beleriand, are part of the globe. But Valinor itself detaches from the globe, and the route to Valinor now becomes closed, only open for the elves. And in the future we see that Frodo, Gandalf, and even Gimli are welcomed to the Undying Lands. With that, Numenor is washed away, thrown under the sea, together with the majority of the Numenorian. Only a few, those faithful I mentioned before, being aware of what Eru was doing. So they managed to flee to Middle-earth, and then they will eventually build the exile kingdoms of Arnor and Gondor. Together with the island, Sauron's body was also destroyed. Sauron's spirit managed to flee also from Numenor to Middle-earth, and with it, with Sauron's spirit, the One Ring was also brought back to Middle-earth. And this is more or less a breakdown of the major events of the Second Age, and how Numenor is destroyed, and that starts the Third Age of Middle-earth, and the Age of Man, and the age that most people are aware from reading The Hobbit, from reading The Lord of the Rings, and from watching the two trilogies directed by Peter Jackson. The Rings of Power might discuss all those events, might discuss none of them in specific, but what they will probably do is talk about the destruction of Numenor eventually, not necessarily in the first season, but they will. I am sure, I am almost sure, and most people are also almost sure that the series will build up to Akalabath, to the downfall of Numenor and the beginning of the Third Age. Probably it will even talk a little bit. We will even work on the beginning of the Third Age, but mostly, probably the climax of the whole series will be the attempt of invasion of Valinor and the destruction of Numenor and the reshaping of Arda. So that's it. That's my breakdown. Didn't want to do a breakdown of the trailer, wanted to do a breakdown of the actual events of the Second Age. So if you enjoyed, please leave a like, subscribe, share this video, and see you all later. Thank you.